How often have you wondered what your husband, wife, boyfriend, or girlfriend is really thinking? Maybe a boss, or perhaps the guy that will sit across from you at a poker table. We will take it for granted that our thoughts are our own. Well, I'm Luke Germain, and I don't think that's true. You know, it often, what I do, takes a process and it takes an amount of time, you know, that you just don't have on the show to display that. So it's very instantaneous on the show, like the summing up of people and so on is incredibly instantaneous, which when I first started watching the show, but even before the show was made and I heard like the rumours about it and so on, I was a little bit concerned that it was going to screw up my career, you know, because I thought you were going to be the figurehead of this to the public, and then they were going to walk into my theatre every night expecting instantaneous results. But something that pleasantly surprised me was, even though the deductions or the observations seem to happen in a snap moment in the show itself, that somehow the level of detail and level of attention is always expressed.
One of the things that I'm in awe of Mentalists about is the fact that the astuteness in which they approach everything. I mean, it may seem very cavalier and casual and all of that, but the actual depth of knowledge is remarkable. I don't practice these techniques so well. I sort of understand the logic of how some of them work. I'm not focused enough as a human being to actually follow them through. There's elements of that I use as an actor all the time. I mean, I sort of have to be able to build a rapport and reframe an idea and a truth.
Were you aware that perhaps those techniques were from that world prior to this experience? So these were things that you were naturally doing as an actor that you then realised were linked.
Absolutely. I thought, wow, there's a relationship between the two arts. But I don't have the mental sort of stamina and strength to be able to pull off the other. I'm a little more whimsical.
Okay. I'm always interested in the side skills. For example, the card counting that was displayed in a couple of episodes. Muscle reading seems to be something that constantly pops up. And is there any one of those particular skills that you find more interesting than the other?
Well, I think I enjoy more than anything is outcomes. Watching people's reactions to that, and I think I'm more partial to that because I am an actor and my attention is generally on the other person.
Right.
And I'm generally always listening and watching the other person, and I feed off of what they do. That's instinctively what I do as an actor. A lot of actors work in different ways, but that's my strength. Is I'm only really ever as good as who I'm working with.
Let's try something very quickly, if you're happy to do that.
Sure.
Good, and it might not work, which is one of the things that makes it more difficult right now. But I'm going to ask you very simply to think about a place that you have travelled to, and don't necessarily go for a place that might seem immediately obvious, like perhaps Australia or England, but somewhere that you have visited, maybe somewhere that you enjoyed, somewhere that you link some kind of positive memory to as opposed to a bad experience. You have somewhere in mind, clearly. Yeah, good. I'm going to ask you to take this pad and this pen, and you're going to jot down the name of this place, nice and big. Don't let me see it. I'm going to turn away. Hold it up to yourself so I can't see what you're doing.
I love the hand.
Okay.
Now,
and
who am I showing it to?
Just put it on your lap, writing side down, so I can't see the writing. The important thing is that I don't see it if I'm going to turn around.
Yeah, you won't see it.
Excellent. Good. Well, one of those things that I find interesting that we mentioned was the fact that you can ask questions and acquire information, perhaps that seems unrelated to the questions that you're asking. And I've watched your portrayal of a mentalist, and some of the questions that you've asked as a character that have become interesting to me are, if you were an animal, what kind of animal would you be? It's a question that Patrick Jane asks often, and then often will replace and contrast the answers from various people. So if you were an animal, what kind of animal would you be?
I think I'd probably be a lion.
A lion, okay. Good. Do you prefer the summer or the winter?
You want a straight answer on this one, don't you?
You can tell the truth. You can lie. You can say the choice at this moment to lie would be just as interesting as the choice to tell the truth. And
this is where it gets complicated. Yeah, it's starting to get in my head in a way that is that I like to get in people's heads. No, I like. I love the summer at the end and crave the summer through the middle of the winter on, and like most people. Vice versa.
Okay.
But I think I prefer the summer.
It's going to be somewhere in Europe then. It's not going to be anywhere in America. It's not going to be anywhere in Australia. It's not going to be England because I asked you not to think of England or Australia. It's going to be somewhere in Europe.
You actually asked me not to go to whatever is the immediate...
Yeah, not England, not Australia, but it is going to be a European country.
There's plenty of places in Australia that are...
Yeah. No, absolutely. But this, I think this will be something less specific than that. I'm sure you could have tricked me by thinking of something very specific in Australia that I'd have no idea about. But I think this is going to be more umbrella than...
We're both working together here, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, hopefully. Do this. Imagine up in the air, like the Hollywood sign, the name of this place, big bold letters, and then so this is 2 words to start with. It must be 2 because there's the separation between the 2 of them. Go with the first word in your head, not out loud and not with your fingers. Count the number of letters in that word for me. Do that now. That's excellent. So you know what I'm looking for right now, I'm assuming, because there's none of what I'm looking for. Do it again. Count the number of letters in that first word. It's going to be 5 or 6. 6, I think. Is that right or wrong?
That's good.
That's good. Is that right or wrong?
It's wrong.
It's wrong. So 5. Okay, good. That's a good start.
Nice little Barnum work there.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's not actually Barnum. What I'm looking for right now, honestly, is if you ask somebody
that one when you said 6.
No. No, that's not a Barnum statement. A Barnum statement is a statement that can be taken as being correct in either way. That was clearly a failure. But what I'm looking for is that movement. If we ask somebody to visualize something and then count, typically the eyes move, but yours were straight dead on, which is why I assumed that you knew I was looking for that.
I thought you were going to look at it.
Yeah.
Because you certainly looked for...
Yeah, so you did very well at holding that one. So it's 2 words. The first one's got 5 letters in it. Do this. In your head, maybe go toward the middle of the word for me. Think about a single letter, just one. And again, there's the blank stare, but I think there's a moment of confusion in there. So I think perhaps...
There's always a moment of confusion.
Me too, especially right now. I think you went to one and then changed your mind and went to another one.
Which would mean?
Get the single letter in... It's 2 letters that are the same. It's 2 letters that are the same. But there are 2 repeated letters in this.
Bingo.
Good. And there are 2 words, and this is going to be somewhere not particularly common. It's going to be somewhere it's going to be somewhere interesting. There's going to be variation amongst it, because you mentioned that you like the summer and the winter. This is going to be the Greek Isles.
That's it.
Is that right?
Yeah, I gave you the clue with Australia, too.
You did very well.
As an island.
Oh, there you go. I didn't think of it in that way, but there you go. Well, yes, there we go.
He's bloody good.
Thank you. Thank you for your help. Thank you, and thank you for your time.
Cheers, mate.